The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. No sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen close or just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast airways, feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. So we're going to start out as we do by saying to Josh, Iceman, Jason, Miss Aaron, Mike, Tabby, Javier, Fitz, McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morty, the guys at the Weather Report, to Billy G, and to Walt from the B-Raw podcast. Thank you guys so much. You are all the reasons why I feel bonita. So anyway, to get into the episode here, we're going to start out by talking a little bit. It's been another week. As I've kind of been alluding to the last couple episodes, I'm so over election season. I'm so tired of people being stupid and mean to each other based on a bunch of assholes who are going to realistically ruin our lives one way or the other and wouldn't give a nickel-plated fuck about you on your day-to-day life. I mean, the people that this, like, tribalism horseshit over to the left versus the right really is just frustrating me when it realistically, neither side has done anything to warrant the fucking loyalty they've gathered from the American population, which can only be attributed to the gradual decline of the quality of the American individual, and it's a shame. And due to this tribalism, people are willing to actually act against their own best interests in the name of trying to support their side, and it's really gotten really pathetic. And I'm so over this shit. I'm so tired. I'm so ready for it to be done. Either way, as the black pill Aaron has been saying a lot recently, I don't think it's going to end well either way. Both sides have functionally stated they're not going to accept the election results. Both sides are already accusing the other side of cheating. There are multiple reports of the electronic voting machines printing up ballots that don't match what the voters are actually saying they wanted to vote for. And people are being encouraged to double-check their ballots before they turn them in to verify their accuracy when you're voting electronically, which in and of itself is not a bad policy, regardless of whether the machines were actually trustworthy or not, just to verify, verify that it says what you want it to say. This is your voice and you want to be heard. Well, there you go. You need to make sure you're being heard. Now, there's a whole lot of ridiculous shit going on in this election cycle. It's a lot of pomp and circumstance and horseshit, pageantry and bullshit. And realistically, I'm done railing and ranting. Like I said a couple episodes ago, I'm done trying to deal with leftists, particularly. I mean, granted, the far right has its fair share of brainwashed assholes too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't. What I am saying is if you can look at the party who claims to be out here trying to save democracy, that are fear-mongering and stumping on the idea that if the orange-dusted bastard gets back into office, he's going to start lawfare, he's going to use the DOJ to go after his political enemies. That's exactly what they're doing to him. He's going to be a tyrant. He's going to be a dictator. These are the people that want to censor free speech. They want to tell you what you can and can't say. They want you disarmed so you are unable to stand up against the government, because it's not that they want to make sure the government's the only one that have guns to control crime. It's to control the population, because crime is going to exist regardless, because governmental institutions are not proactive situations. There's the police, the military, none of these things are proactively involved in preventing crime. They are reactive scenarios only, because we can't stop crimes before it doesn't happen. It's literally fucking impossible. And nobody with more than half a brain would want that, because that's the only way to do that is you're a fucking slave at that point. You are not a free human being. You are a fucking servant. You are the chattel property of the fucking state. And if you're okay with that, frankly, you fucking deserve to be in those chains, you worthless, spineless, gutless sack of shit. But I'm getting off track here. The thing I like I said, I'm ready for this to be over with. I'm done. I'm spent. I'm burnt out. I'm out of fucks to give. I think if they manage to pull off whatever cheat it is to say Camel Toe fucking won this election, despite the facts that her campaign has completely fucking imploded. Everything they have attempted to do to relate to the common people has come off as hokey and staged and fucking... She's an idiot. She's a fucking drunk. She can't answer questions. She can't perform under pressure. She goes on an interview, the first actual interview she does that wasn't all softball questions, and literally could not answer a single fucking question. And then when she was starting to get held to the fire with this interview she had on Fox, and she started to get rattled, and she starts getting snippy and extra cuntish, and I'm trying to answer the question. I'm answering the question. You won't let me answer the question. Bitch, you talked for 5 straight minutes and didn't say a fucking thing. He was trying to get your retarded ass back on task. But no, all she has is regurgitated talking points, and she's not even good at those. She can't even deliver those well. This lying, worthless sack of fucking tits. I swear to God, I hate that worthless cunt. But more so, I hate anybody who's still stupid enough to say that's their candidate. Anybody who can look at this bitch and not be insulted that that's the best they could fucking bring to the table. Just utterly fucking worthless. And ultimately, that's really, I think, what's getting to me the most is how just fucking insulted. I mean, I can no longer identify with these people. I can barely realistically consider them people at this point. They're fucking drones. They have no desire to be independent. They're so actively participating in their self-delusion. And I'm thinking of a few people in particular here that I've had to interact directly with recently, where it's like I try to talk to them and I can't. It's just the pattern I've noticed. Everybody who's really leaning left, like hard left these days, where they're like, oh yeah, no, Camel Toe is definitely our candidate. She's going to fix all the problems and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, how's she going to fix the problems? She has literally said she wouldn't have done anything differently than President Biden's done in the last 3.5 years. She is part of the current administration. If she had solutions, why are they not implementing them now? Why does she need to get reelected to implement, basic common sense questions that these NPC smooth-brained motherfuckers are not able to answer? And pretty much without fail, with the exception of one individual who I've talked to, who honestly I think just fucking knows better because we've known each other for a while, and he knows that you're not going to resort to calling me, a racist or a bigot or a transphobe or any other thing without having to fucking back your statement up. Because as far as I'm concerned, if that's what you have to fall back on, you've fucking lost. And my general ability to remain calm in the face of people losing their shit because all they have is their emotional appeals. And when their emotional appeals don't fucking work on me because I'm not a fucking retard, it short circuits them and they fucking just get fucked up. And if you want a prime example of how just poorly managed the Camel Toe's campaign is going, this past weekend was the what the hell was it? The Al Smith dinner. It's a big Catholic fundraiser they do every year, and it's kind of a roast, and generally all the political candidates and all the big monkey muck players are there. And Trump was there, and like Chuck Schumer was there, and Letitia James was there, and a whole bunch of people that really don't like Donald Trump very much. And Trump got up at this dinner, charity fundraising, Catholic Charities dinner, and proceeded to roast the shit out of pretty much everybody in the room, which was, in my mind, it was delivered quite well. I mean, I'm sure it was not off the cuff. He was going off cards. They knew who was going to be there. He had script writers. He had people writing his material, but he delivered it very well, because that's the thing. It's not enough to have good jokes. You have to be able to deliver the fucking jokes, or else they're not good. You can look at any of the fucking like Comedy Central roasts and roasts that are on YouTube for recent ones. I mean, if you go back to like the classic Dean Martin roast, it's a whole different story. But if you look at the recent roasts, these motherfuckers, most of them have scriptwriters, and still a lot of them came off flat because they have people that are not comedians trying to deliver comedy, and it just doesn't fucking work. But now, so like I said, Trump roasted everybody who was there. And oddly enough, so did Jim Gaffigan, which is funny because Jim Gaffigan's he was the host, the MC for the night, and because he's a Christian and he's a clean working comedian, and he doesn't do a lot of the fucks and all that other shit, and he's generally a little more liberal, as most of the Hollywood individual motherfuckers are. And he was letting everybody have it too, which was just really funny to me. Took some shots at Letitia James and a few other people, and he did the job fairly well. But the one who was conspicuous through their absence though was Camel Toe. She was not there. She phoned it in. She did a sketch. She did a pre-recorded sketch. And of course, I mean, if you're looking at things objectively based on her entire track record for this entire election season, of course she wasn't there. I mean, even with notes, even with people feeding the fucking answers into her ear, because there's multiple evidence of her having an earpiece at this point. She can't do live. She can't do unscripted. She can't do things without a teleprompter and people feeding her shit. Even with cards, she would have been fucking terrible. But ultimately, she wasn't there, and she sent in a video. And her response, knowing this is supposed to be kind of comical and, humorous, as is the tradition, is to tap into Molly Shannon in a 25-year-old fucking SNL sketch of Mary Catherine Gallagher and the superstar and all this other shit. So, nothing will appeal to those younger voters like, something that happened that was popular before they were born. And nothing will really appeal to the Catholics than something that was a deliberate dig at the general Catholic school girl personage. And it really scores a lot of points by not bothering to show up in person and sending a taped event because you couldn't be bothered. Now, granted, like I said, I understand the team wanting to keep her the fuck out of that environment because there's no way she could sit there and take the shit that was being dished at her to her face and maintain anything resembling composure. She would have carried herself even fucking worse. But it's almost like they're trying to lose at this point, and it's utterly ridiculous. She's pathetic. She is a terrible candidate. The people who are still standing behind her are so just delusional and fucking... They're the people that sit around and try and bite the bubbles in the bathtub when they fart. I mean, they're just fucking retarded. And if you're a Camel Toe supporter, you're more than welcome to try and reach out to me and change my mind or tell me what an asshole I am or try and bring something to the table. One fucking piece of evidence that you could point to, and I will apologize for calling you a smooth brain fuck, if you can actually, without mentioning Donald Trump or abortion, explain why you think she'd be a halfway decent representative of this country. Because based on the way she can't handle softball interviews, she can't handle anybody pressing her at all without completely losing her shit. Her most recent campaign appearances, she's no longer we're here on the party of joy. She's really starting to crack, and she's starting to be angry and yelly. She's taken that Hillary Clinton, I'm in the 11th hour, and it looks like I'm going to have my ass handed to me, so I'm going to start talking down and berating the American people. Because, again, these dumb bitches are not fucking leaders. They're delusional sacks of shit. And in her case in particular, I mean, Hillary was evil and manipulative, but at least she had, a sort of a evil, crafty cunningness to her. I mean, she's a delusional fucking cunt stain, but she still wasn't a retard. Whereas Camel Toe is fucking brain damaged. I mean, she's low IQ, no real quality or merit at all, cackling, drunken sack of shit. And how anybody can look at her and go, yeah, that's who I want representing me to the rest of the world. Anybody who thinks we're going to maintain any sort of power or status on a global scale with an empty-headed, vapid drunk at the fucking helm is fucking deluding themselves. And, these hills they're willing to die on over fights that really aren't actual problems until the fucking media made them problems. And these dumb motherfuckers who just jump in with both feet because they're fucking... They think they're clever. They think they're the resistance. They think they're so out there. And meanwhile, they're just fucking dolts. And it's utterly ridiculous. And, it's frustrating. It's very hard to fucking, see a clear path and a bright future when there's so many of these smooth brain fucks around here. And just having to deal with them on a day-to-day basis. And when I'm out there in the real world doing my real world shit, I generally try to keep my politics to myself because even though, like, I know in the environment where I am most of the time, for being as close to a big blue bastion like that shithole Chicago that I am, there's a lot of people there that really aren't buying it. They're just like disillusioned with the Democratic Party. They're disillusioned with, and a lot of it came from this election cycle, from having their candidate foisted upon them and going, this is the best you motherfuckers could offer us. How do you expect us to believe any of the other bullshit you're saying when this is such obviously and blatant horseshit? So, like I said, I keep saying it. I really think the Dems have overplayed their fucking hand. I think they tried to pull the trigger too fucking soon. Another generation would have gotten them where they needed to be. There's still a hope of pulling the fucking reins back and having it be, there might be a chance. But like I said, at the start of this episode, neither side is willing to concede that the elections are going to be valid. Neither side is going to acknowledge the other team winning. It's just the way it is. This is going to be fucking messy. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be rough. It's going to be a fucking nightmare in a lot of ways. I really don't see anything about this going well, regardless of what the outcome is, regardless if Trump wins the popular vote in a landslide, regardless if Trump sweeps the fucking electoral college. Then the fucking left is going to do what the left does. They're going to be the emotional, rioting, looting, burning sacks of shit that they are. And as I've said repeatedly, I'm more than content to let them stay in their deep blue shitholes and burn those things to the ground. But at some point, it's going to spread, and there's going to be pushback, and then I don't see this going a good way. Riots spread, citizens defend themselves, government declares martial law. New president doesn't get inaugurated because let's be honest, even though they're saying it's going to take anywhere from days to weeks to certify the election, blah, 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 which is utterly ridiculous for a whole nother reason, and that's a whole nother tirade I could go off on. But the fact that third world shitholes can do paper ballots, hand counted, and certify their elections in one day, meanwhile the most supposedly advanced country on the planet needs weeks to verify their election counts and blah, 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 blah. I mean, there's all kinds of shit. The federal government is doing nothing to instill faith in the electoral system at all. They're not doing anything. They're putting in zero fucking effort to make these elections unquestionably valid. So regardless of the outcome, there's going to be a side that's not going to accept it. There's going to be pushback. There's going to be blowback. There's going to be conflict regardless of how this plays out. I'm calling it now. I've been saying it for months. This is going to end bloody, one way or the other. Regardless of who wins, shit's going to go down. Drama's going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. So be prepared. Keep your head on a swivel. Try and stay safe. Try and keep focused. Try and just do what you got to do. It's the best time to start was 5 years ago, and the second best time to start is right the fuck now. Get your shit together. Have a plan. Get some supplies if you're in those areas where the shit's going to really go sideways. And it's not going to be the country folks that are going to have problems. It's going to be the metropolitan areas that are going to fucking burn first. So, be ready to bug out if you have to. And if you can't bug out, be ready to defend yourself because shit's going to be ugly. I really don't know what else I can say about it. Thanks for listening to another episode, guys. If you liked what you heard, leave a comment, leave a review, leave a rating. Go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com, sign up for the mailing list, interact with the show. Click the links, sign up for the Patreon, join the Discord. Come and interact, be a part of the show. Buy the merch, support your favorite creator. Or support me. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Till next time.